Man, bollocks to you, current events. I'm pausing so you can cut that bit out and post it as a funny meme on social media every day for the next 4 years. I'm bored with being coy about my political stances, so for the record, if you voted for that orange knobend, I hope he mashes your family up into paste and uses you as part of his skincare regimen. But why let it take over our lives? Let's cheer ourselves up with a nice aspirational game about billionaires getting completely fucked up. The Roottrees Are Dead is a, brace yourself, genealogical deduction game that opens with the news that the president of an ultra-successful family candy corporation has died in a freak plane crash along with his spouse and all of his heirs. Oh, what a shame. If only it had been in an imploding, poorly designed deep-sea submersion vehicle, I could have actually reached climax. But I guess that wasn't on the cards, because the game's set in 1998, back when things made sense and there was still some measure of respect towards the sanctity of human life. We play as a professional genealogist who has to interrupt their non-stop life of glamour and sex to figure out the careless twat's entire family tree going back 4 generations, and figure out what random scattered cousins are about to inherit enough cash to gold-plate their newly erect todgers. Sounds easy? Well, did you miss the part that we're set in 1998, and the only tool at our disposal is the pre-social media internet, before everyone on Earth thought it necessary to document their every passing sandwich, and you can only find people online if they've been in the news or have gotten their clothes off in a professional setting. Gameplay-wise, you go to the cups on the ends of strings 90s era internet, typing in search terms, and from the initial crumbs of information go down multiple deep rabbit holes to take pictures of the rabbits in their most intimate moments. Very Hypnospace Outlaw-esque. And after coming up for air, you toddle off to the Roottree family tree, and fill each end tree with a photo, a profession, and an identity tree, and every time you have tree, I mean 3 or 4 fully correct, they get locked in with a little congratulation ceremony, very Return of the Obra Dinn-esque. Now forgive me if I failed to adequately bring this across in the multiple years I spent screaming and banging you over the head with it, but I really like Return of the Obra Dinn. That's probably why this game was recommended to me so highly, thinking about it. But it was because of the Obra Dinn comparison that while I was cutting out pictures of some cockhead used car salesman and his 2 extremely embarrassed looking daughters, I found myself thinking, man, I wish someone would get eaten by a kraken. You see, while the game pulls off the satisfaction of figuring out puzzles with your amazing brain, it falls short of highly recommended because it lacks for a secret spice, e.g. Kraken Massacre. There's a hint about some dark family secret that will be revealed in time, but when it is revealed, I was like, that's it? No one got murdered? No one got pulled apart by tentacles? You're aware of my definition for post-dad games, that is, the dad game's satisfaction with a job well done combined with a fantastical narrative streak, like a lawnmower that talks with the voice of Gilbert Gottfried. While I do recommend Roottrees to fellow deduction game enjoyers, it doesn't get as far as the post-in-post-dad. I think it might just be a dad-dad game. A newspaper puzzle page writ large. And the fact that that turns me off slightly gives me a strange hope. Maybe I haven't gone fully dad-brained yet. Maybe there's still time to avoid my gut ballooning out over the top of my overly tight jeans, so I look like a giant capital P when standing in profile. Phew, I feel relevant again. Let's play a cocking Souls-like. One with an anime art style like what us young people like. Oh, here's one. A new sequel to Ender Lily's Quieters of the Nights called Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist. More like we got Bloomin' pissed when we were coming up with the names for these things. You may remember Bender Silly's Flatus of the Shites was a Souls-like Metroidvania about the last days of a dying dark fantasy world. Yahtzee, yes, I know, I'm about to narrow it down. This was the 2D one where we play as an adorable, pristine, innocent girly whirl who enlists the spirits of all the dudes she defeats and lets them do all the combat while she holds the coats and completes the tax paperwork. Sort of the intersection between Alice in Wonderland, Sultan Sanctuary, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So what's new for Bender Begonia's Bloody Bleeding Blimey? Well, not a whole lot, actually. Again, we play as pristine, innocent girly who wakes up in a coffin at the bottom of a sprawling Metroidvania map. Again, we enlist the spirits of defeated monsters and warriors to wipe our delicate Bumsy in combat, and the main antagonistic force is a nondescript, corrupting black fart cloud simply called The Blight, although it might as well have been called The Plot. The main difference is that we've switched from fantasy to sci-fi, and if you genuinely can't think of anything to do but a retread of your last game, that is always a reliable sequel pipeline, good enough for Warhammer, Castlevania Lords of Shadow, and, that Gilligan's Island spin-off cartoon where they went to space. So now instead of purifying the souls of knights, we're reprogramming corrupted robots and turning them into digital ghosts like they're Pokemon or something, making this more the intersection between Sultan Sanctuary, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Nier Automata. But I can't be too salty, because like its predecessor, I rather enjoyed Ender Magnum PI. It's just a nice functional Metroidvania, not exactly setting a fire under the genre. The start to double jump rating is like 3 rooms, but there's something comforting about the reliable way all the cogwheels click together, the easily readable art style, the nice helpful map that highlights rooms that still have undiscovered secrets so you know where to come back to when you unlock the head-mounted secret opening device, and the combat's rather enjoyable as well. You can fully customize what stand attacks are mapped to the 4 attack buttons, and have them all cracking off at the same time with no stamina mechanic to limit you. And when you can summon a whirling ball of damage at will, including that one terribly useful stand who has mastered the secret martial art known as owning a gun, the bosses were pretty pretty easy, mostly only taking 2 or 3 attempts before folding like the centre pages of the boys' dormitory's only issue of Playboy. Comboing different attacks at the same time can take a little bit of uncomfortable finger origami, but as I say, you can map the buttons how you like, so just find whatever works best when you mash the controller with your palm. My only major strike against endlessly mangled title is that I really couldn't follow the plot. Part of the standard Souls-like format is to drop you into the middle of dying apocalyptic world du jour and hint at the story with confusing background crumbs. Magnolia opts instead to hint at the story with prolonged dialogues between characters, while you glance between them not understanding what in the name of Beelzebub's bellend they're banging on about. I guess we are playing as a kid, maybe that's the intention, to evoke how it felt to be in the room when my dad was refusing to explain to my mum what he was doing at a bar called the Rusty Trombone.